Good morning, everyone. I'm Grazia, and this is my project called Flow. The brief was to design a sensory installation aimed to be a remedy for apathy. I made some research, and I found that in psychology, the opposite of apathy is flow. So creating a path by inviting people to move and then to stop, I thought was a good way to stimulate the flow and the senses and to make people feel a sense of enjoyment. So, starting from these considerations, I went to the space, Bay 20, and I studied its characteristics. As you can see, from the sensory point of view, there's no natural light. The second thing I noticed was that there was a huge echo. And that made me think that I should work engaging with the senses of sight and hearing. Not only that, I was very fascinated by the big audience you can see in these pictures. As you can see in the plan and in the elevation, this audience divides the space into halves, and this is a characteristic I decided to stress in my project. Here's my collage and my statement. What I wanted to communicate was the idea of a space is divided in two by a visual boundary, where each half offered a completely different experience to the viewer. These two different experiences are connected to light. One space will be lightness, while the other one in darkness. To sound, one space inside and the other one will be a sound space. And to movement. In the master plan, you can see people moving in the first half of the space and sitting in the audience seats next. In order to do so, I decided to create a visual boundary, a huge scenographic theater curtain, to recall the feeling of being at theater. As you can see in the storyboard, then, the viewer experience will be articulated in three moments. People walking, falling apart on the ground and triggering some sound devices by standing on them. Then, in the middle, people on the path, crossing the curtain, entering into darkness. Finally, people will sit in darkness in the audience seats, relaxing and reflecting on the experience they just made, surrounded by colored wave of light and sound. Diving into the heart of the project, the way in which I want to make people speed up is by creating a puzzle riddles on the floor that people are spontaneously invited to follow. Those riddles, as I said, will trigger some sound devices. The senses involved here will be sight and hearing, by light and sound. I decided to leave the space clearly open and work only on the floor to stress the physical characteristics of the bay and to make people feel they are in a performance. As you can see in the photo insertion, people won't see through the theater curtain, so they will be unaware of what's happening next. The second part of the experience is the one of slowing down. By using the already existing theater audience, I want to make people feel free to just sit and relax, surrounded by light, sound experience. In order to highlight this wave of light and sound, the area will be in darkness, as you can see in this sensory photo insertion. With this final slide, I conclude my presentation. I hope everybody enjoyed the project. Thank you.